This is Montana This Morning.
If you live around the 9th Avenue and Lamy area in Bozeman, then you probably had an eventful Tuesday night. I'm Cassidy Powers, and stay tuned to find out why this street was flooded with cop cars and SWAT for nearly 10 hours.
And the battle continues between the Ennis Town Council and the mayor. Coming up, our Heaven Van gives us an update. And after a bear and two cubs spent some time on the Montana Tech campus, students and instructors now getting some training on how to be bear aware. We have that story coming up. Alrighty, it is 6:32 on this Thursday morning. Jane McDonald and Matt Ellel with you. A beautiful look over the Montana State campus.
Yeah, Montana State looking good, Butte looking good. There are some showers that are out there. I don't expect that to be a big issue for us. I think a lot of this is moving into drier air. That means it's going to fall apart pretty quickly. As we set this into motion, you can see our skies clear out pretty fast through the morning and afternoon. We're looking at full sunshine through the afternoon and fairly breezy conditions. Temperatures for today expected to be into the mid to upper 70s, generally quiet conditions. You can see a little bit of that cloud cover in Butte this morning. I don't expect to see any rain in the near term. I'll tell you whether I expect rain longer term in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Now, Tuesday evening, a heated argument over parking led to a man to retrieve an AR-style rifle from his vehicle, and that incident led to an all-night standoff with Bozeman police and other law enforcement. Our Cassidy Powers was on the scene and spoke to one eyewitness about her night.
I'm here on the corner of Lamy and 9th Avenue in Bozeman, where Tuesday night through early Wednesday morning, this street was flooded with police cars and SWAT teams in efforts to detain a man that had barricaded himself in that house right there with a rifle.
It was a wild night, not a lot of sleep, a lot of yelling in the background and all that jazz.
Hannah Cantu lives down the street from the scene, where tire marks from law enforcement are still visible in the yard.
I remember we were semi-asleep, woke up around midnight to probably a flashbang and some major sounds of like yelling and evacuations.
According to a press release, at around 5 p.m. on Tuesday, witnesses around Lamy Street observed a man retrieving an AR-style rifle from his vehicle during a heated argument over parking. Concerned neighbors immediately contacted law enforcement, but when they arrived, the man had left the area. At around 9 p.m., police received information that the man, later identified as Seth Ryan Gomez, was back in his residence off 9th and Lamy, barricaded with the rifle.
Well, we get information that there was a weapon involved, and then we have information to believe somebody may be barricaded inside of a residence. It really then kind of escalates our response.
I spoke with Patrol Captain Hal Richardson, who arrived on scene around 2 a.m. Wednesday morning. Richardson tells me police were able to safely evacuate those in the residence not involved in the standoff and put the surrounding residents in a shelter in place.
Obviously, if there's weapons involved and, us bringing a special response team in, we just don't want somebody to be injured if it did turn violent.
Gomez was uncompliant and refused to leave. That's when Bozeman police activated their city-county joint special response team.
We just try to negotiate with them. We use loudspeakers, we use throw phones. We try to go through a whole bunch of stuff to try to get them out.
Eyewitnesses say they also used what sounded like flashbangs. As you can see here, windows on the residence were shattered.
And then they continued to yell, "We know you're still in the house. Please come out with your arms up and no guns," and all that kind of stuff.
After several hours of failing efforts, Gomez was still barricaded in the residence. Around 5:30 a.m., the Lewis and Clark County and Helena Police SWAT team was called to the scene. The incident was finally resolved around 7 a.m. when officers deployed tear gas.
The individual was taken into custody peacefully. Nobody got hurt, which is really the ultimate goal.
Gomez has been charged with 4 felony counts of assault with weapon. According to Richardson, Bozeman police doesn't see these long standoff situations often, but they do have the resources for when they occur. And Hannah, who's lived in the Lamy and 9th area for years, tells me it was impressive to see those resources in action.
They did a great job in handling it, as far as I can tell. There have been little incidences over the years and stuff like that, but never anything with this heavy of a presence.
In Bozeman, Cassidy Powers, MTN News.
Now on the national scene, the alleged would-be assassin of former President Trump appeared in court this week for a pre-detention hearing. The prosecutors released new details surrounding that planned shooting. 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Ruth has already been charged with possession of a firearm as a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Ruth also allegedly sent a letter to another civilian detailing his plan months prior to Ruth's arrest. National correspondent Liz Landers has more from Washington, D.C.
In a new filing, federal prosecutors who have already charged this suspect with 2 gun-related crimes lay out more information about his mindset going into that incident that took place last week. Now, they say that in the last few days, a citizen witness has come forward and said that Mr. Ruth, who is the suspect here, dropped off a box to someone's residence a few months ago, and in the box it had ammunition, metal pipes, and several letters. One of the handwritten letters in that box was addressed to, quote, the world. It stated, among other things, quote, "This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster. It is up to you now to finish the job, and I will offer $150,000 to whomever can complete the job." So there, the suspect indicating that this was an assassination attempt. He also went on to say that he blamed the former president for the troubles in the Middle East and that region unraveling. Those were his words. Ruth was taken into custody by sheriffs in Florida last Sunday, just a few hours after he was spotted holding a gun pointed at the golf course where the former president was playing. Now, his vehicle was tracked down by sheriffs in Florida who pulled him over. And there's new information that investigators have put into this filing about what Ruth had with him in his car. Apparently, there were 6 cell phones that were discovered in his car. In addition to that, there were 12 pairs of gloves. There were 2 additional license plates. There was a passport with his name on it. And there was also a Google search on one of the cell phones that was asking how to travel from Palm Beach County to Mexico, perhaps indicating that the suspect was looking to flee the country. Liz Landers, Scripps News, Washington.
And another push to oust the mayor of Ennis. The town commission is set to vote tonight on a motion to remove Mayor Nikki Hawes from her position. Our Heaven Van has been following this story for weeks now and brings us all the new developments.
A dispute that has divided the community of Ennis is based around a memorandum of understanding to have a school resource officer here at the Ennis schools. On any given day in Ennis, nearly half of the town's population of 1,007 residents can be found here, inside the town schools. And so it's perhaps no surprise school safety is a big priority.
As a dad, I love it too, having 4 girls who are going through the school system.
But conversations about how to pay for a school resource officer are dividing the town.
I see different people from the community who are trying to educate each other on what they think is happening.
Greg Ledgerwood is a pastor here in Ennis and one of the many community members who feel left in the dark about this debacle. Mayor Nikki Hawes has approved a memorandum of understanding to assign a school resource officer to conduct walkthroughs at the school 3 times a day.
As a pastor, I love it because I've had interactions with him and the school in an awesome way.
But others worry that added safety would come at the expense of safety in the greater community.
The community would be covered by law enforcement a third of the time, with the luxury of spending the rest of the time at the school watching time pass. Only the taxpayers are on the losing end of this fiasco.
That's public comment from a meeting last month, where the town's commission was discussing the memorandum and whether Mayor Haas could legally approve the memorandum without the commission's approval. A decision that now has the commission considering a motion to remove her.
And it seems to be that the past history has been that the mayor was able to do that. So it seems to be a little out of character to be able to remove someone for something that's been done in the past already.
Police Chief John Moore agrees. In a statement to the community, he writes, "There is no legal basis in the town charter for the extreme measure of removing the mayor from office." Further, he says the town isn't on the hook to pay for the SRO because the district has agreed to reimburse the town for services.
That the school has raised their partnership financially in this, and it seems to still not be what is needed to remedy the situation. So sometimes I wonder, is it really about the finances, or is it more about people just wanting to get rid of somebody?
Many, like Ledgerwood, are just hoping for reconciliation as they anxiously await Thursday's vote.
Just everybody coming back together and working for the common good of the community would be incredible.
In Ennis, Heaven Van, MTN News.
Thank you very much, Heaven. And students and staff at Montana Tech in Butte learned how to stop a bear from charging. And no, it did not involve taking away the bear's credit card. The best way to stop a bear from charging, using bear spray. Members of Fish, Wildlife and Parks showed people how to safely and effectively use bear spray against a cutout of a bear on wheels that simulated a charging animal. One staff member wanted to learn how to use bear spray after having a close encounter with a bear while visiting Glacier National Park earlier this year.
One of the gifts that they give us is being able to experience another apex predator right alongside you, and you get the feeling of not being at the top of the food chain and the feeling that you need to learn to take some steps to protect yourself.
Bear encounters can happen anywhere in Montana. In fact, just last month, a black bear and her 2 cubs wandered through Uptown and Montana Tech's campus. Now, we're going to take a short break here on Montana This Morning. It is 6:43. Matt is going to head out to the weather patio, give you the latest on the forecast, and we have a special guest joining us on Montana This Morning. You're not going to want to miss it. All that coming up after the break.